In other words, we got a response within about 2 months or so. Little Jenny started paying attention in class.
Yeah, she wasn't getting, it came to the point where she wasn't getting a call anymore. They had different steps, and she was actually getting to the point where it was like one of the steps below that where she'd get a warning, but it dramatically dropped.
Dramatically improved, right? Okay. Well, here's the problem. So Jenny at first was not focusing in class, now she's focusing in class. So she actually kind of met the requirement also for being allowed to train for her black belt now, because that's what she wanted, right? But the teacher now presented a new problem and convinced the parent that there's still a big issue with Jenny. And the issue now was that Jenny now was focusing in class, was participating, was raising her hand, but she didn't have the patience to wait till she got picked. So she shouted out the answer. All right? So what should have happened at this point was that Jenny should have been praised for the great improvement that she made, right? The fact that she's now focusing in class. She's even trying to give feedback. She was trying to, she was raising her hand.
She was never doing it.
She never did that before, right? So that is developmental direction. That's the proper developmental direction, right? Mom actually, the one saving grace in this is, first of all, we're very tenacious about getting to the bottom of these things.
I think Mom started seeing that on her own after a while, right?
Mom started noticing that when we talked to her, and then Mom also visited the classroom, and she started realizing, I think the teacher is asking for too much. Interestingly enough, even the teacher admitted that, saying, like, I think I asked for too much from the children sometimes, right? Really, that is a prime example of keeping in mind the difference between achievement point and developmental direction. Is the child perfect yet? No. Does she have to work more on different things? Yes.
But praise her for what she is doing well.
Praise her for what she has done. Because
she didn't even get praised.
Right, she didn't even get praised for that, right? So think about it this way, what's easier? Teaching a child that feels that she is doing well, or teaching a child that is discouraged?
Yeah, the first one, definitely.
Right? So we can go back to that old saying, is you catch more bees with honey than with vinegar.
Very hard to try to...
Right. So that's really the biggest cardinal sin of teaching when it comes to trying to motivate a child, is that too often we get bogged down on trying to achieve a specific goal, or not allowing the child to feel that win, that success.
We learned that a lot along the way, even with our students too. We had some specific students that they might not be focusing really well, but now they're hitting the bag very well. Right. So we praise them for that point, because it was at a point where that student was not even doing that well.
Right.
So I mean, even as instructors, we see that every day with our students, and we have to remember not to, to encourage them on what they are doing well on.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to criticize teachers at school, because they have
they have a tough job.
They have a tough job. And they also are very limited in the amount of creativity that they can bring into the classroom. In other words, they have to go by certain curricula, and they have to make sure that they do certain things.
They're getting more and more students. They're getting, cuts.
Right. So, but fortunately, what we can do is we can make our own time schedule for everybody. In other words, if there's a child that has a really hard time, they don't have to have this particular thing down in 2 weeks.
And really, what our program does is help supplement also too.
Right.
What they're not getting.
Right. So. Here's a good way. This is what we train our instructors on a regular basis, and that's one of the most important points, I think, is praise that behavior that you want to have repeated. And bottom line, that's it. No more to it than that. So if you want a child to always try hard, and let's say, and you want the child to always give you 100%, right? You praise whatever the child is trying hard about. In other words, if so far, he was always wiggling around in class, but today he's working really hard on holding still. And even if you can only do it for 10 seconds, who cares? He's trying, he's giving you something new. He's changing something.
It's more than what he was doing before.
It's more than what he was doing before, exactly. Right? And he is clearly showing a change in his attitude. He's saying, I am taking this serious, I'm trying hard, but, he's only going to do it for 10 seconds or so. Right?
And I think we're going to have to take it